So I failed miserably this month, and let's talk about it. Hey guys, I'm filming this video at 10 p.m. with the hot chocolate. It is November 30th, which means it's the end of another month, and of course, the end of NaNoWriMo. I did not do a traditional NaNoWriMo this year, but my goal this month initially was to write 25k, which is about 800 words every single day, and sort of midway through my goal, not even like within a week of my goal, I realized that I just did not want to stick to a word count goal. I usually love word count goals. They usually work very well for me because I'm someone who loves like tangible evidence of a goal coming to fruition. But unfortunately, I had become so used to not focusing on my word count. The whole year, I've turned off word count on my Word documents, so I can never see where my books are. And I'm not even really frequently updating my word count on like my Write Club, which I still use. And so it just sort of felt weird to be logging a word count every single day, even though I typically love word count goals. So midway through the challenge, I decided to try to hit 25k, but without checking my word count. So just through vibes, trying to figure out if I wrote 25k, basically whatever I wrote at the end of the month is whatever I wrote. Now it sounds all fine and dandy until I tell you that I did absolutely none of that. I did not write 25k. I did not write 800 words a day. I did not even write very much. I think I wrote maybe 3 times this month, maybe twice. All of that happened within like the first week. This was just one of my failures, and I don't really care because it was really a loose goal. A lot of stuff happened in November. A lot of stuff has been happening in my life this fall. Since September, it has just been a crazy time for me, for my family, and so I have really been focusing on spending time with family. I've been doing a lot of cooking for family, and I'm not focused that much on my writing. You know, I'm not even really focused on anything else except sort of waking up and like living and then going to bed. And in a way, like, this is what this month was supposed to be for. So yes, I'm a little bit disappointed, a little bit sad that I didn't write because I was trying to reconnect with writing this month, and it just didn't really happen, to be honest. The past 2 Novembers, I've written 50,000 words within the same series for this NaNoWriMo. I was writing Sunless Ground, my contemporary fantasy sequel to my novel Seventh Virtue, which I will link a video explaining the plot if you want to get more of the details. I have really come to associate Novembers with this book. I think that just because of how much I was writing it, how much it emotionally meant to me, especially that first NaNoWriMo I won back in 2022 was the first time I had really written consistently in like a year. And so it's just a nostalgic time of year for me. It just did not work out this month, and I did not focus at all on writing. I also had, you know, some health issues, like minor health issues. I already have chronic pain that I'm dealing with, and so some days were just like, I'm in too much pain to be dealing with anything at my desk, you know? And I also just did not want to write on my phone. Like, that's what I was doing at the beginning of the year when I didn't want to write at my desk, and I still wasn't doing that, just not mentally there enough to write on my phone. But I also had to do some like heart tests this month, which was crazy. I have no idea what's going on. It should be fine. But my brain has just not been occupied with writing or really my computer, period. I've been, you know, still volunteering at my old workplace. So a lot of my digital work is just focused on that. It's not actually focused on writing. My life right now has just resided quite purely in the last 2 months in real life, which is a big change for me. Usually I'm on social media and, you know, on Tumblr, or I'm streaming. I haven't streamed in a long time. I have really lived in the real world like since September. Part of it is probably because my best friend Ashley, who I've made a few videos with on this channel, she's finally back in the city, so we're just seeing each other a lot more, and I'm just trying to spend more time with people in my life, and that's nice. However, that means I also just didn't do any writing. Like, I just literally didn't prioritize it. People say wake up an hour early and try to get in some writing. I did not do any writing, and this month I didn't have work. Like, I had a few, I think like maybe 1 or 2 editing clients, and I didn't have any freelance writing work, which is what I've sort of been doing. But with that in mind, I still didn't do anything. Like, it just was not happening. And it's a little bit of a bummer because I'm still like a little nervous that I'm not gonna have that moment of that aha of like, oh yeah, I feel connected with my writing again. And sometimes that's the feeling that you are craving. That was the feeling I was craving. Even today, it's literally the last day of the month. I was like, what if I could just like write 10,000 words today? And then I just didn't because I was working on Christmas presents, you know? So like things just keep getting in the way, and so is life. So now's the time where I try to actually find out how much I did write this month. I'm telling you, it's probably 2,000 words. I started the month at 171,000 words in Sunless Ground. Never try to get me to write when I have to write the end of a book. I hate writing the end of books. I just hate it so much. It's such a big transitional period, and I hate change period, and I just love being in the middle of something where I feel comfortable, or you know, toward the beginning, like going into the middle is the best part of the book for me to write. And we're currently at, drumroll please, 174.283. Okay, 3,000 words. That's a surprise. 174. I'm gonna update my graph. I wrote 3,000 words. Basically less than 3,000, you know, 2,500 give or take. Okay, I mean, like, this has been very like average for me since I got my first job, like in the summer since graduating. Back in January, February, I keep thinking to myself like, oh my god, I was so consistent. It was crazy. I think I wrote 60,000 words in maybe the span of 2 months, a month and a half. Like, it was crazy how big the book got in very little time. And I really have not moved in Sunless Ground. I talked about this in the vlog, which will come out after this video. I honestly started to empathize with myself more when I realized I had been in the same part of this stupid book since maybe April. Not actively drafting, but like from a stage of like ideating to drafting since April, and it's November. It's December tomorrow and I'm still not past this part. So Sunless Ground, let's get into the process a little bit, has been a very different book for me to write. Usually I'm very chronological, and that's just how I like to write, because also I'm a pantser, and chronologically speaking, like that's usually when I come up with my ideas. It's just one after the other because my brain is coming up with it as I go. However, for Sunless Ground, I noticed I started to lose some tolerance with writing in certain points of view. And that certain point of views is Harrison. I have two narrators in Sunless Ground, Harrison and his best friend Reeve. They're separated, and so the whole book is basically about them coming back together and what happens when their lives sort of converge. I did not expect to hate writing Harrison's point of view so much at certain points. So what ended up happening, like back in, I don't know, April, I think, I just jumped purely into Reeve's point of view, and I just said, fuck them kids and fuck you too, basically, to Harrison. I could not stand like staying like 6,000 to 8,000 words in his head, because the chapters are really long too. And so I basically wrote a ton of the chapters non-chronologically, because I would write all of Reeve's chapters, like 3 in a row, and then I went back and added Harrison chapter here, Harrison chapter here, Harrison chapter here. It's not that I have not been writing since April. I just have not progressed on the chronological timeline since April, and it's driving me nuts. So I honestly am at a point where I just kind of want to get past this part. This happened to me toward like the sort of inciting incident for Harrison pretty early on. It was a scene that was in my mind for so long that it just got stale. I know a lot of people really look forward to writing scenes that have, you know, been in their mind for a long time. The scene that got you to write the book. This was one of the scenes that got me to write the book, and I was sick and tired of writing it. I just like bulldoze past it as quickly as possible, and I think I have to do that with this part, because at this point, if my brain has been stuck since April 2024, I have changed so much since April 2024. I've grown so much since April 2024, okay? It is kind of mind torture to be stuck in the same spot, even if I've written like 60,000 words in between there, 40,000 words in between there. It's really kind of psychologically alarming to my brain that I haven't gotten past that point in the plot. Now, I was traveling a lot this fall. I went to Ottawa twice because my mom was getting a surgery, and I went to Montreal. So when I was in Ottawa, I managed to sort of ideate some more for Sunless Ground. I really didn't do any drafting the 2 times I went up for like a week and a half each, but I did come up with some sort of like vibes for this book as well as for the next book, particularly in Harrison's point of view. And those are some bits that are exciting me now in comparison to what I'm writing right now. So I can't wait to, you know, get past this bit. I really don't love when my writing gets too planned, and I think I'm toward the end of the book, and what ends up happening is I have all these ideas that I need to complete, and so they all fall into place. And so I have to write them, and so I know what the ideas are that's coming next, and my brain just loves the spontaneity. I function a lot better when something random kind of crops up, and that's really how I wrote the majority of this book. And now that it's the end, this happened to me when I was finishing Seventh Virtue 2. It just was a lot harder to push through because I knew exactly what was going to happen. It wasn't very exciting to me. When I was in Montreal, I actually met my favorite writer, Garth Greenwell. I went to Montreal for his event celebrating the release of his novel, Small Rain. It was great. We talked for a little bit. It was just a wonderful interaction. So that was giving me some writing spice. I was getting the allure again of writing. I just got a half scholarship for his writing sex class, which I think is running online in January. I am so excited. So all of that is to say, you know, writing related things have been going on in the background. And I'm trying to remind myself, like, it doesn't matter. Like, I'm not doing the output of drafting like I was when I was, you know, incapable of leaving my house in January, terrified of absolutely everything. I don't have to be at the exact same space with writing because I'm not in the same space, like, with life as I was back then. And this is just sort of like another season. It's not that big of a deal. 2024 has been a big year for me in terms of, like, trying to buckle up and feel more like an adult. It's not quite there yet. Like, I'm still terrified of absolutely everything. What I learned how to use public transit. I could never do that before. I've gone places many times by myself. You know, I worked. It was nice. I've made connections. I've found things that I like to do. So I'm not trying to be upset like that, oh, writing's not working out. It's just, writing has been so unimportant in 2024. It was so important in 2023 for me, and it's just not as important this year, and that's okay. And that's why I knew by week 2 I was like, I have to write, and I just didn't. I have not sat down for like a dedicated writing session. I can't even remember the last time I did it. It must have been literally on day 1, because on day 1 I wrote like 1,200 words, and then I don't know how I managed to have so many extra words because I don't remember any other session after that, and that's okay. So that was my November of writing. That's a little chat on failure and life sort of getting in the way. You know, you just let it happen, right? Of writing. Let me know how November went for you in terms of writing. I am proud of what I did. I'm proud that I, you know, stuck to the, oh, I'm not gonna try, like, to basically kill myself to reach this goal, which I have been doing for many, many things in terms of writing. I'm really proud of myself that I just gave up and I don't give a shit. Like, that's fine. Wait up for the vlog that'll come out soon about, you know, basically the only times I was writing this month. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.